And now it's time for Who's Views with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Who's Views. And welcome to this very special show, because I don't know about you, but we need this show. Here we are. We are going to be celebrating, as we have been over the last few weeks, 55 years. Paul's not going to like me saying that. 55 years of season 7. Yes, so far we've had our season overview. We've had our look last week at Spearhead from Space. And tonight we're celebrating the one and only Liz Shaw, of course, played by Caroline John. And I'm not alone. George, Paul, and Emilio are all with me as well. Look at Paul there reading his book. Hello.
So just do last minute research. Sorry about that. So...
Hello, guys. How are we?
Not too bad. Stop saying 55 years, for goodness sake.
No, it's outrageous. That's outrageous. It's good to see you all in the chat. Thank you for joining us for this. This is, of course, a break in the madness of this very week. And as I say, I think we all need it. Guys, I want to go straight away to the chat and say thank you to Lex for his super chat. Thank you, Lex. My first encounter of Liz Shaw of Doctor Who was the Ambassadors of Death and Inferno, but also the first DVD of the 5 Doctors. That this is what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, haven't I, guys? That Liz, thank you for that, Lex. Liz is one of those companions that I feel people tend to forget. And so when she turned up in the 5 Doctors and she's there for like 2 seconds, that was a bit of a letdown as well.
She's got a bigger part in Dimensions in Time, though. Remember that. So.
He has to go and do it again, doesn't it? Yeah. Has to do it again. But yeah, let us know what you think about Liz Shaw and Caroline John. I know there's a lot of love out there in our Who viewers field out there. We've got Ark in Space guys saying to us, hey there, Liz is an underrated companion, but she's still one of my favorites. Isn't that lovely? Really was lovely. Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. We've got Legion of James there. We've got Michael Q with us as well. We've got Mike Disney. So why do you think, guys, that Liz is one of those underrated companions?
I think she's in the same realm as kind of Mary Tam as well, isn't she? Some people, don't think of the first one as much as the second one because Lala was longer, that kind of thing. Same as Katie, isn't it? They were much longer. Maybe that's why there's a longer stint, perhaps, But
and I think for a long time, season 7 was probably the forgotten Pertwee season as well.
Yeah.
Because with the exception of Spearhead from Space, the archive material wasn't in a broadcastable standard. Yeah. So it was largely overlooked. So, you just had that one story as a point of reference for Caroline John and Liz Shaw. And leading on from that, Katie took over and, those middle 3 seasons are the defining 3 seasons of John Pertwee's time. They're the default that everybody thinks of. So, that kind of cast a large shadow backwards unfairly on season 7 and on Caroline John, I think.
Oh, totally. That's a really good point, that, isn't it? Hello to everybody that's in the chat. And hello to Terry Teaser saying, hi guys, long time no see. Good to be back. Good to see you. And it's also great to see a lot of our new subscribers, a lot of people that have joined us over the last week. Welcome to Who's Views. Nice to see you. Have you seen Caroline John's performance as Liz Shaw? Come into the chat. Come and let us know. It'd be nice to see you. Carl Goddard is saying, good evening. I was lucky enough to meet Caroline a couple of times in the mid-90s at conventions, and I saw her on stage with Pertwee at Panopticon in 95. They were hilarious together. Well, that's nice to know. Yeah, that's nice to know, because I sometimes got the feeling that because Caroline John was very direct, no nonsense. She said what was in there, bang.
Yeah.
She was very honest about her relationship with Pertwee, wasn't she? She was sort of always very sort of like, he could be too grand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know they were joking, laughing and joking in a British manner. But no, I know what you're saying there about that as well, because but I mean, I know that you have, Paul. I don't know about Amelia and George, but on this, there's a lovely little, on the Spearhead from Space Blu-ray, there's a lovely little documentary, isn't there? And it is nice. And there's that lovely feature where she's at that convention, her first convention all those years ago in Manchester. And she's sitting there basically saying it was the first convention she'd done because she was so hard on herself because she thought she was rubbish in Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's really sad, isn't it? You know?
It's terrible because she's bloody brilliant.
She's superb, yeah. I'm really glad she got such a warm response at that convention as well. They adored her, quite rightly, which is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were all standing up and clapping for her, weren't they?
Yeah. And she was convinced that Barry Letts wasn't impressed with her, which knocked her own self-confidence. And I know Barry Letts many years later said, you know, to his eternal shame, he allowed that situation to arise, that he didn't recognise what was going on and turn around and say, no, that's not the case at all. And he said, you know, one of the very few bad memories he has about his long association with Doctor Who is the way Caroline John's exit was handled.
Yeah, I remember hearing him say that, something like that. I think it was in the 30th anniversary year where he and Terence, Uncle Terry, of course, were on the usual panel of theirs, you know, talking about the stuff. And that was the first time I'd heard him say that, saying if you could go back, he would change that and he would do that properly, you know, and he would talk to, and when you hear him, it's heartbreaking, really, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. Is our Phil here? I'll get this in early. I appreciate Liz Shaw more as a grown-up than in my youth. I used to much prefer Jo because she was pretty and fun, but the stricter Liz is a much more interesting foil for the Doctor. 100%.
That says a lot about his adulthood. That's all I'm saying.
It really does. Yes, it really does. He needs a firm hand. And John, hello, John. Caroline John's portrayal brought a sense of realism and relatability to the character. Liz Shaw was not just an assistant, but a well fleshed out character with her own strengths and weaknesses. That's brilliant, that, John. Thank you for that.
Sorry, going back to that documentary on the Spearhead from Space Blu-ray, JT, it's fantastic documentary because it gives you a real idea of what Caroline John was like as a person, not just talking about her in her Doctor Who role. You get a real sense of what she was like. You said she seemed to have been a remarkable woman who took no prisoners and was beloved for it. And I really hope that documentary is ported over to the season 7 Blu-ray box set.
I'm sure it will be. One thing that really tickled me on that documentary was the fact she was a pipe smoker. That's very interesting. I thought that was an act because she's in one of the BVV videos at Probe, whatever, and she smokes a pipe in that. And I thought it was part of the character,
I remember that.
But actually, it was a real life thing. So that's interesting, really, isn't it?
I always thought that was a bit of a joke going round.
So did I.
Until years later, so that, no, actually, she did. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, to show what her character was like, the anecdote of how she dealt with a peeping Tom, in a very no-nonsense sort of way. Yes. I think it's a good illustration of what she was probably like. I never had the pleasure of meeting her, but by all accounts, she was a remarkable person.
Yeah, I love the way that the time I met her was 10th Planet. I'm sure. Remember that old shop back in London. And there was, you're going outside, you're queuing up, and you're doing all this. You're meeting other fans in the queue, and you get into the. And I love the way that as we got to the entrance of the shop, I'm sure it was 10th Planet. It couldn't have been Galaxy 4 in Sheffield. It must have been 10th Planet. As we got to the entrance of the shop, she was holding court inside, and the queue was right inside. And she was at this table, and she was just larger than life, a bit Pertwee-esque, really. She's like, oh, and you could hear her. She was like, oh, love, oh, yes, oh, no, don't be daft, yes. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be exciting, We've got Happy Man 050 here with us. I was lucky enough to be seated with Caroline and Jeffrey at a celebrity dinner at Monopticon 5 in 1997. They were both lovely people. That is lucky. That's fabulous, isn't it?
That was another thing that really warmed me in the documentary. The fact their relationship was fantastic, but the fact they worked a lot together. And I think I said to you, JT, they were in an episode of Poirot together with David Suchet in that original series that he did, and they're fabulous in that as well.
Yeah. We've also got Sharda Knox saying to us, Liz was only in it for the one season and didn't get a chance to shine over several seasons. That's certainly when other companions have had that element, haven't we? We're not really talking about Leela or Romana version 1 or anything like that. I'm certainly not talking about any of the new lot. But yeah, she got. But what a mark she made on it. And Paul Stenterford saying Liz Shaw, a fantastic companion for the Doctor, but often overlooked, but not amongst her faithful fan base. We can count us in that here at Whose Views. Of course, we love Liz, don't we? And we love Caroline.
Yeah,
Liz Shaw was the perfect character to be the second lead in season 7. I mean, with all due respect to Joe and to Katie and the character of Joe Grant wouldn't have worked in season 7. Nor was Sarah Jane. It was, Liz was at, Derek Sherwin absolutely nailed it when he came up with that character for his reformat of what Doctor Who was going to be going forward.
Agreed, George. Yeah, I think she fit the tone of the stories very well, right? That's the main thing. She really works with the episodes in that season.
And the thing about she is quite strict, quite formal, but she has some lighter moments through it as well, which is lovely. And the line I put on my screen is from Ambassadors of Death. There's a lovely bit in Ambassador of Death that really tickles me to this day, is when she's many escapes from Regan and his base, when her and Cyril Shaps are trying to work on the device to communicate with the ambassadors, and she escapes many times. She gets caught once, and Regan throws her to the guard, and the guard grabs her, and she says, "Don't worry, I won't hurt you."
Yeah, really confident character. Paul Thomas Ashworth, thank you so much for your super chat here. He's given us a little dancing pear, so thank you for that. He's going thumbs up. That's great to know. Thank you for that, mate. Really appreciate them. I don't know why they make me laugh. They just do. They get me. We've got here Sheldon Knox saying to us, love the idea of the Doctor having a brainier companion. And Julie's with us. Hello, Julie Wendy. I thought Liz Shaw was less a companion and more of an equal to the Doctor in many ways. Terry T is saying to us as well, both had good chemistry on the show. It's true though, isn't it? I mean, it's very interesting, because obviously you were born into Doctor Who with the new version, the reboot version of 2005. Liz is totally different, isn't she, to any companion that you've had in the new version, or not?
Well, I think the thing that probably gravitates me towards Liz is that my favorite companion in the new series was the series for Donna, because I think she was a good match for Tennant Doctor, and she could give a little bit back. And I think having an older companion who's already, as you say, a more kind of fully fledged character, knows themselves, doesn't need to be a damsel in distress and ask the Doctor what's going on, can actually, figure things out for themselves. I personally find that a more attractive trait in a companion. I think it compelled me more as an audience viewer than simply just screaming Doctor, what's this, etc. I think I find that works occasionally, but I think we've had too much of that in both. I think in classic Who and also in New Who as well. I would like to see a more kind of a more Liz Shaw kind of characters, slightly older companions. Would be my preference. So I think that's why I gravitate very much toward Liz as a character.
I mean, Liz was part. I love what you're saying there, because as we said with Spearheads from Space and in our season 7 overview, this was a rebirth for Doctor Who. This was how to do a reboot correctly, because as I've said, for me, it's different, but it still somehow manages to say, yes, we are still Doctor Who, and that is still the Doctor you're watching. And then Liz comes along, completely reinventing, if you like, and Caroline comes along with that performance, the role of the companion, the assistant, whatever you want to call it. And she was, for the kids that were watching at the time, totally different to the 6 years that had gone before. This was a real breath of fresh air, and it showed how Doctor Who had just matured to tie in with season 7, Paul.
As we said already, the casting's all, and the casting, the 3 leads is brilliant. The Brig, the Doctor, and of course Liz, superb, really.
Well, I mean, you've only got to compare the character of her immediate predecessor, Zoe, who was supposed to be a hyper-intelligent, no-nonsense, emotionless. I think she described herself as a living computer or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
all brain and no heart, I think.
Something like that. Yes, but to quote Louise James, in reality, she was, "What is it, Doctor? What is it, Doctor? Doctor, what is it?"
That's probably one of the benefits of Caroline only being able to do the one season, because she didn't get to that point. And those episodes with Liz is still, she's very much that strong person. As Phil's saying to us here, I think it's impressive how Caroline John played a strong female character so many years before RTD invented them.
Very true.
And Paul Stentford saying Caroline John hated her performance in Doctor Who and the Silurians until the BBC sent her a video of the show. Her viewing of this helped her to convince her to do the convention circuit. Yes, she mentions that in that at that Monopticon convention back in the 90s. That's absolutely what, because she watched it. And apparently she turned around and said, actually, I'm not as bad as I think I am in this. And good for her, because she was brilliant, wasn't she? We've looked at that.
And I think actors often hate watching themselves, and that's a hard thing to do, because you can't, once it's been made, you can't do anything about it. So you're in the hands of the director, obviously. But she is superb in the series. She has no... She can't. I wish she was here now to appreciate the fact we love her, because
I'd get her on the show.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly.
Doc Martin, who I think Liz wasn't well served as in Spearhead. She was new and prickly. In Ambassadors and Silurians, she played second fiddle to Pertwee's Doctor, and in Inferno, she was on Alternative Universe Liz. I don't think it was to any downgrading, though. I do like the way that her character does progress over the season, because she is at the start, as you say there, she was new and prickly. But this thing must be going over years, or a year or something like that. We don't really know how many months she's there at UNIT, but she's basically getting used to the surroundings and what she's doing, and she's enjoying being with the Doctor, and she's suddenly realizing, I'm with an alien. This is really
I think
cool.
she is a bit prickly at the start of Spearhead, but the Doctor charms her immediately once he meets her, doesn't he? And they get on so well very quickly. You know?
I think visually they do it, don't they? Because as in Spearhead, she's got her hair tied up, and she's obviously in her like scientific uniform. But as you see in the next episode in Silurians, she's her hair down, she's wearing more normal kind of clothes, she's more relaxed. So even that, like even visually, they try and show kind of a progression. But her being prickly at the beginning makes sense, because she's meant to be a skeptical scientist.
But also she has been taken out of Cambridge.
She's just been by the Brigadier. And she's prickly with the Brigadier, not the Doctor.
Because they have that lovely scene where the Doctor says to her, look, do I have to keep calling you Miss Shaw? That's a lovely little moment between them.
When he says as well, will you go away and leave us alone? She loves that, because he's taking the dick of the Brigadier, superb.
I like this from Stephen Braddock. Hi, Stephen. I think we have not only John Pertwee, but equally Caroline John to thank for Doctor Who becoming popular and not being cancelled. She helped saved the Doctor's future, and I think that's actually fair enough. Speaking of Stephen there as well, Stephen sent us another one of his drawings. He's done this one for us. This is his picture of Caroline.
That's lovely. That's really nice. Really
so
nice.
Thank you for that, Stephen. Thanks for sending those in. Really appreciate it. I'm well done.
I completely agree with that, but I think equal credit must go to Nick Courtney as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we're never going to forget Nick, are we?
No, and I don't know how you feel. I mean, we're talking about Liz here, but I like the fact that Briggs quite serious at this point. There's comic moments, but he doesn't quite get so, as you said yourself, George, like Dr. Watson later on.
Yes,
I like the straight kind of Brigadier version. Very good, and he plays it brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, as the Pertwee years roll on, he becomes more and more of a comic foil to John Pertwee.
Yeah.
Which
I'm fairly sure that's Chroma, exactly.
Which I don't dislike, but I have a preference for the way he played it at the beginning of the 1970s rather than the mid 1970s.
Yeah,
he plays it very straight as an authority figure, and if kind of going back to kind of Liz, I think the reason why she also relates for the Doctor very quickly on the kind of Brigadier point is that she can already tell that the Doctor has no care for human authority or army authority or unit authority, that he's a bit of a rebel himself. So I think that immediately they bond on that kind of aspect, kind of anti-authority figures, basically.
All scientists together, eh?
Exactly.
Because that really comes out through the entire series as well, aren't they? I mean, they are there, and the Doctor respects Liz. Liz respects the Doctor, and I also get this feeling that the Doctor is sort of being very patient with her, because it mustn't have been very easy for him as a character. Because he's got this scientist from Earth from the 20th century.
But he probably also known, because he's been exiled to Earth, this is the best he's going to get in terms of someone who can match him on an intellectual level. So he's probably thinking to himself, you know what, I should, might as well be a little bit patient, because nobody else is going to kind of understand me or get me.
Julianne, nice to see you. Julianne Goodwin's with us. Caroline John as Liz Shaw is one of my favourites, forever an integral part of one of the very best seasons of Doctor Who. Beautifully said. And Paul Stentford back with us saying, I found both Caroline John and her husband Geoffrey Beevers to be extremely lovely. They were down to earth people, and I can still hear her laughter in my head. That's lovely. Yeah. That's a nice memory when you've got that there, isn't it? What's Gary saying? Stephen again saying Liz Shaw is so strong and feisty throughout her season. And Gary Bryant saying to us, Liz Shaw was a similar character, Annabelle Hurst from Department S with the Third Doctor as Jason King in flamboyant mode. That, Gary, that's sort of tying in with what I've always thought about season 7. It was very much akin to all those things, especially that were on the ITV network at the time. And I'm including the Avengers and stuff like that there. It was very much, those two fitted in. The Third Doctor and Liz were there. They were in all that mode. I love that. I'm watching it again recently as well. And as we said in our overview, it's just brilliant, isn't it?
It is. I'm looking forward to very much the restoration for this season when it comes.
Yes.
And particularly the behind the sofa with Jeffrey Beavers and Daisy Ashford watching the episodes of Mum and Wife. That I'm looking forward to that immensely.
I've got a question for you all from Mark here. Mark Greaves is saying, hi guys, could it ever have worked if they had had Caroline and Katie as companions at the same time? Or would that have been too much? What do you think?
I think they could have had, you could have had Liz come back for the odd episode, a unit kind of invasion story. I think she certainly could work. And it would be good to see the dynamic between Liz and Katie, and because they're very, very different. I think it would offer a really interesting contrast to see on screen. So personally, I think she could have come back. It's a shame she didn't, and we didn't get that closure with her, which is again maybe also why she's slightly underappreciated, because we didn't get that full closure.
What it really needs, Emilio, is the meeting of them as they swap positions like Emma Peel and Tara King, don't you? That kind of thing.
He likes Bessie Parks anti-clockwise.
Kind of thing, yeah.
I think it would have worked, not least because you've got two incredibly talented actresses who would have known when to play the similarities and play the differences. And I think it would have worked in exactly the same way as it worked when Katie Manning and Liz Sladen got together for the Sarah Jane adventures. I think if that would have happened, it would have been a joy to behold.
Yeah,
I agree. And from my point of view, Mark,
and Donna in the new series got to, they had a kind of few episodes together, and that worked quite well as a kind of with Tennant. So it has worked in the past, as you said, George.
From my point of view, Mark, I think it was a missed opportunity, and it's possibly something that Barry Letts, even years later, as he mellowed a bit, may have looked like, because it would have been a great way to sort of not just make it up with Caroline John, but to explain where Liz had gone, because you get that thing at the beginning of the Terror of the Autumn, she's gone back to Cambridge. If she had come back for something, it would have heightened the episode. Even if it had been the Three Doctors or something like that, a real emergency. And she's come in to help him because the Doctor needs a scientist, possibly. I don't know. I think it's a missed opportunity. Really,
she could have been in Shada, couldn't she? She's going back to Cambridge.
Why didn't he do that? Yokai63 is saying, I really like the slightly snarky version of Liz Shaw in Spearheads. Yeah, it's one of those reasons that she works so well. And hi to Rob Alexander. The Briggs seriously undervalued Liz in Terror of the Autons, summarising her role as passing the Doctor test tubes and telling him how great he is. That's the point, yeah.
And that's definitely what Joe did, that's for sure.
Yes.
And that was the fact that was intentional as well, show exactly where their view of the series had to go. Nothing against what happened afterwards, but there is a difference between 7 and 8, let's face it. And Arjon, hello Arjon, how are you? Hello Arjon. Liz was the best. Caroline was also a great narrator of the audio books Cave Monsters, Auton Invasion, Inferno.
Yes, she is. She's an absolutely brilliant narrator.
They were great. I love that thing again in that documentary that I learned there, that herself and her husband Jeffrey would read to each other.
Yeah, that's lovely.
How lovely and warm and comforting is that from an era now where couples could possibly just be sitting on some sort of electric device now at home and not bothering with each other. Do you know what I mean? What's the point in blood and having a relationship? You know what I mean?
Can you just imagine Caroline sitting there reading out loud something like, inside the police box, which was not a police box at all, there was an impossibly large control room, and Jeffrey Beavers just rolling his eyes.
I love the way that they were practicing as actors, though, still practicing their craft for the narration, because they knew at some point they were getting audio work, narration work, where I was going
keeping up the sight reading skills. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also keeping this going as well, isn't it? Really, for an actor, keeping the muscles going. Hello, Kirk. Kirk Stacey's with us. I love the character of Liz. I for sure would welcome a Liz type companion, not in the current show, but when it's rebooted down the line, of course. Yes. And who's this? This is Darth the Path. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. Was Liz Dr. Shaw? I forget. I have a feeling she was called Miss Shaw. Well, the Brig called her Miss Shaw because he called everybody Miss, even Turlo.
But she was Dr. Elizabeth Shaw.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. She's now making lovely sweets. When you go to B&M, when you go to B&M at Christmas to get your character options figures, you see all the Liz Shaw sweets. Oh, there she is. She's busy now with her science making mints. I love it. Fantastic. But there you go, Darth. Ooh, I've got chills now. Ark in Space is with us as well. Hello. And what's Julianne saying? Tara King, the Avenger, who looks like she was cut short in a field in the show's titles. And
our house is blown away, doesn't it? To be honest,
and a bottle of champagne suddenly appears from nowhere again. It's just fantastic. That should happen more in real life. Gary is saying, listen, she could have returned in the Time Monster with the Cambridge setting and been the female scientist who helps the Master, but the twist is she doesn't know who the Master was.
That would have been good.
See, oh no! Well, these
and that would be such a groovy episode for her, wouldn't it? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, even if that was on the table, the only thing in the real world was at that time Caroline would have had a baby in arms, so whether she would have been available to do it or not.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point.
Knowing actors having children, the baby would be baby Benton or something, and just get them a job.
Oh, can you imagine it all? Timescales is with us, and Timescales is saying, "My God, what have I logged on to? Haha! You've logged on to companion piece here on Who's Views. We're taking a break from all the madness to celebrate Caroline John and Liz Shaw as part of our celebrations of season 55. Yes, Paul, put your earplugs in. Season 55 is, of course, season 7 rather, is 55 years old this very month, because it was, of course, broadcast in January 1970 here in the UK. So we've been celebrating that all month, and what a great! It's been so much fun as well. It's really, really good. Mark, thank you very much for your super chat. I'd just love to point out that the answers from all the panel not only were excellent, but also more complete than an RTD script.
To be honest, a 7-year-old conversation would probably be better than that, to be honest. Let's just get it out there.
I've got some crayons handy. I can do some writing now if you want.
Really, I mean, that's a bit of an insult to 7-year-olds.
That's true. That's very true.
True, yeah. Maybe we should, maybe let's go down to 3.
Yeah, and to be honest, though, it's not that difficult either, is it, these days?
Well, it's done by AI, isn't it? To be honest.
Allegedly. But I love the story that they tell as well about how she got the job. How Caroline got the job. And at this point, I just want to put in this particular graphic, because isn't she fabulous? Look at that. There she is. Look, gorgeous and confident and bold and taking on a new show. How lovely. But I love the fact that she sent pictures to various agents of her in a bikini. Now that's taking all this women thing and owning it, isn't it? Saying, I'm deliberately going to send pictures of me in a bikini to all the male producers and casting directors, and it blooming worked, because apparently BBC producer at the time, James Kellen Jones, got the photographs and then sent them to Peter Bryant and Derek Sherwood, who went, "Hello, let's get her in."
That
well, Caroline, I say.
Yes. That photo you just had on screen, though, JT, Caroline John doing the time-honoured new Doctor Who companion thing, doing a press call at the Forecourt of Television Centre.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. That's where that one was from. That's when she was announced to the press. 1969.
I do remember reading somewhere or seeing an interview somewhere with her saying that she was a bit concerned because she couldn't get into TV at all at this point. Yeah, and people thought she was a very serious actress. That's why she did that bikini shot, wherever it was, to try and show a different side to her. Wasn't that the way she did it? I think, yeah.
I love it, because she's not bothered about all the stuff that's going around her at the time, is she? She said, I'm a woman and I'm going to tell them I'm a woman. Look at this. There's me in a bikini, now employ me.
Because before this, she was working a lot with Olivia, wasn't she? Doing lots of theatre, things like that. So she was really heavy, really classic stuff, wasn't she?
Well, apparently he loved her, according to all the documentaries and the research. He absolutely adored her and her talent. And by that, I mean acting talent, you lot in the chat, yourselves.
I don't know if it was in the documentary or read it somewhere else, but is it true that she played, or understudy certainly, and played up one night Desdemona to Olivier's Othello when Olivier did the so yeah.
Nice to see you all in the chat. It really is. Keep it going with all your memories and your appreciation of Liz Shaw and Caroline John. We've got Paul Rose here saying, "Hi JT and panel. I'm listening with interest, but I'm still doing jobs." What? No, Ian. I know he's gutted. He's got other things to do. He might be able to join us a little bit later on, but he's a bit busy at the moment. But he wanted us to know that Liz Shaw, of course, is surprise, surprise, one of his favourite companions. While you lot talk, I'll get the comment that Ian said to me. Because here it is. Actually, here it is. Don't worry, it's here. Liz Shaw, says Ian, a mega intelligent, work-saving, independent female in 1970. Who'd have thunk it?
What I think makes again, if we compare the modern landscape to back then, that they're able to show strong female actors or actresses, and they also have a feminine side, right? They're not just taking the role on as a hard boss who just basically behaves like a cold, stunted male character. She's tough, she's intelligent, but she's also sassy, witty. She's also caring. She does show a softer side not a lot, but at times you see that. And so there's a nice kind of balance there. It's not hand-fisting you over the head saying she's a strong independent woman. It doesn't need to. It's subtle. It's in the character. But yeah, it's balance. And I think in the modern landscape, they would just basically make her do all the Venetian Akudo and basically beat up all the guards and all of that kind of stuff, which just makes
and she'd patronise the doctor as well.
Exactly.
Doctor,
X, Y, Z. So I think it just goes to show that they did strong female characters in the 1970s way better than they do in 2024 or 2025.
Well, they're right proper characters, Emilio, don't they? That's the thing. Yeah,
that's it. Characters. Exactly.
I strongly suspect Caroline herself had a big hand in that, and she fought and won many a battle to make Liz a rounded, believable character as it possibly could be. I mean, there's the famous incident where Barry Letts and Timothy Coombe wanted to go potholing in a miniskirt.
That's right.
And she said, no, don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. And John Pertwee supported her as well, didn't he? Which was good. Yeah.
I love that as well, because it shows that not only were they focused on Liz's character and the maturity of Liz's character, but also the fact that they knew the story. They were paying attention to the script. That was just brilliant. I mean, that is an example of sexism of the day, isn't it? Of the time. Oh, stick her in a pothole in a miniskirt. Come on,
Well, it's a relief though, because if she did do that, she would have twisted her ankle as well, probably when she was there. But,
yeah. And then the character would have just
exactly, yeah.
I mean, as I say, I think this is one of the reasons. I mean, this pairing between the two of them. As we've watched season 7 over the last few weeks, guys, for these shows. I mean, these are standout performances. They are so strong. They're bouncing off each other. They're performing so well with each of these scripts. I mean, it's just beautiful to watch. All this time later, I'm not going to say the word Paul, but all this time, I mean, it's still fresh, isn't it? You could watch this entire series. They could put it on television today, and it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would work.
100%.
I must admit, very disappointed. Was it 2000 or the last Knockies of '99? They put on Spearhead and were planning to show all the colour stuff from there on, and they showed, I think, Silurians and stopped, which is such a shame. It really was.
I seem to remember that they jumped straight to Genesis after Silurians, didn't they?
I think they did. That's right. Yeah, it was such a shame.
Yeah. I don't.
Mind you, at that time, I don't think the material they had for Ambassador Death would have been up to broadcast standard.
True, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, that might be it as well. Yeah. Juliana saying to you, Emilio, yes, Emilio, Liz is a fully rounded character, not a girl boss caricature.
Yeah.
Well put.
Yeah, because that's the in thing now. It shows that they just don't know how to write women. They seem to think that they have to write women in a different sort of way, and they don't really, do they? Because go and watch season 7, you writers.
I really think it had to be a binary. Either if you don't make them girl boss, you're being misogynistic or sexist. When what is it that makes a great woman? We want to see women that are kind of independent, that can have careers, that can be successful, but also it's also good to celebrate the feminine side, the empathetic side of women, the fact that they can be mothers, etc. So again, it's I think the world at the moment is very, very binary. It had to be one way or the other, whereas I think again you can celebrate all of those different aspects.
What we got here, thank you for that, Emilia. Stephen Braddock saying to us, it's hard to believe that the Doctor and Liz had only just met. They had perfect chemistry from the off, and in Silurians it looked like they've been together for ages. They possibly had, because we don't really know, do we? What's this from Gilliam? Hello to you. One thing I remember that made me go, I know her, was when she popped up in Sherlock Holmes with Tom Baker playing Sherlock. Yeah, that was a shock. I didn't know the cast then when I watched that. I was only watching it because I knew Tom was in it. And then suddenly Caroline John pops into it. I was delighted.
Yeah, she was Laura Lyons in The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah. Was that Barry Letts trying to apologise for what happened?
Yes,
quite possibly, yes.
Yeah.
No, he said that. I remember saying one of the gigs I saw him, he did say that. He said that he purposely went out for Caroline to get into that. And he was absolutely delighted when she said yes.
And she's very good at it as well, I have to say, yeah.
I remember he said something along the lines of he wanted a capable and strong actor.
And she was brilliant, yeah.
And leading on from what she said, in that she bounces wonderfully well off Tom Baker and vice versa. And it just makes you think,
not a shock, is it?
Yeah, it just makes you think, oh, wouldn't it have been great if Liz came back for a guest appearance in one of Tom's stories?
Well, she had a good grounding with Pertwee, didn't she? Let's be honest.
Gosh, there we go. Legion of James. Liz character elevated season 7 throughout her tenure, bringing a much more mature edge to the storytelling as a whole. The entire season was in itself very unique in its story delivery. It's just perfect. I think that's actually going to be the whole conclusion to our mini-series here, celebrating season 7. It's just perfect. Because it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a reboot, it's just... incredible. And there we have Liz in the midst of it all. Fantastic. I love it. I just love it.
It's unique, isn't it? I think it's
for something that seems such a limiting format. It's got lots of different levels to it and different ways of approaching things, which is fabulous.
And also considering that 4 episodes in, Barry Lett took over another producer's vision for the series and had to run with it. He didn't have an alternative. To still deliver such a high caliber run of episodes is all credit to anybody and everybody involved.
Yeah, no, it's true, isn't it? Yeah, and of course you're getting to. I'm so excited about it, getting to live it all again because yes, as we know, Doctor Who: The Collection season 7 with John Pertwee and Caroline John. It's nearly here. You haven't got long to wait now, everybody. I bet you're counting the days, but it's going to be with you, so you can relive the fantastic season 7, of course, as we all know, and look at Liz again and see her again, and just really, really, really take in that performance of Caroline John in these incredible episodes that she stars in.
In what I'm hoping will be 2 wonderful restorations on the Silurians and the Ambassadors of Death.
I assume you've seen the trailer. George.
Indeed, yes. I mean, the shots that are used from the Silurians certainly look like a huge improvement.
I did think of you when they had that lovely ending shot of the nesting in the box. I did think of you.
And the one shot from Ambassadors of Death that's taken from restored material looks very, very good too in the trailer. So if it's all that. Quality throughout, I'll be absolutely delighted, and just to have the color restoration, none of the other things you get in the Blu-ray box set is worth the admission price alone.
I like that comment from Darth here, from Darth Path. I still think that globe is too big. But thank you for that one.
Everyone says that. I think that.
Except me. I like it. Steve Braddock is saying to us, the way Liz deals with her kidnappers is just so strong and utterly compelling. Absolutely. And Ark in Space saying to us, I get Saturday and Sunday morning vibes with the Pertwee era with UK gold repeats. Of course, that's where a lot of people would have come into this as well, wouldn't they, because of those repeats?
They did. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but did they used to have tea time repeats as well? That they showed maybe a 4-part story Monday to Thursday, and then an on the bus on the Sunday. Was that
the 90s?
That was sure the late 80s, early 90s. Because I
can't remember either. I can't remember. And Emilio won't know because he wasn't
I
born.
wasn't alive.
Oh, shut up.
Whiskerless youth. Absolutely. What's this from Caroline? Brought such a touch of style and sophistication to the role of Liz Shaw. Her star shines very brightly throughout the whole of season 7, says Paul Stenterford. It really is, isn't it? I mean, she's just amazing. When you look at her body of work, as Doctor Who fans, we know her as Liz Shaw, but she was a Shakespearean actress. You know, and she did classical for years. She was able to do comedy. You know, this was a very talented actress, and we were bloody lucky to get her, even for 1 year.
Well, it's funny you say that. Just recently on BBC 4, there was a TV recording of Much Ado About Nothing from 1967, I think it was. It might be on the iPlayer, but she's in that with Robert Stevens, Maggie Smith, etc., etc. Derek Jacobi, great TV version of Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh wow! Now that's a cast.
It's in black and white, but it's good.
I haven't got a problem with black and white.
I would say, can we cut it down to about 25 minutes and colour it?
It's probably best to do that. Yeah. Or fast forward bits if you want.
I'm too young.
Inappropriate music continually over the top of it.
Yeah. What did you say, Emilio?
I said I'm too young, so I won't watch it.
I know, yeah.
Black and white. I can't watch it.
No, they won't let you watch it either because you have to fit what they want you to know about. Can you? I'd like to see that though, because I love the fact that both Caroline and her husband Jeffrey knew all these famous people now that a lot of them, well, the majority of them now gone, haven't they? You know, your Maggie Smiths and everything. I love that they hung around with them and they knew them and they'd worked with them, and it just shows you that generation of actors, the caliber was incredible. And there's Caroline and Jeffrey as well, but Caroline in the middle of it, working with them all, a true talent, a real talent. I would have loved to see her doing Shakespeare.
Well, I think it might be on the iPlayer. So if you have access to it next time you're at your mum's, have a wee look.
Yeah, or see if I can get it recorded. Is it in a one, or do you know?
I think it's in a one. Yeah, it's not cut up into episodes. I think it's 2 hours long or something. Yeah. But, yeah.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'm going to look that out. Thanks for that, Paul, because I think that would sound fantastic. What a cast! You're not going to get that anymore, are you? You're not going to get the caliber of that anymore. Really,
and it's a wonderful example of. It's kind of like a filmed play, really effectively, but it's done really well. It's kind of multi-camera setup, but it looks really good. You know,
not bad for the time, then, eh?
Yeah.
We've got Legion of James saying to us, UK Gold did the daily episodes Monday to Friday around 6 p.m. ish when it started. Then they scrapped that amid John Pertwee for solely Sunday omnibus episodes, as I remember. I don't remember any of this because I was either working or too young or out, wherever it was going to be. But what did they do with the omnibus editions, Legion of James? Are they the edited ones?
Yeah.
They were edited.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. Here's Rose Kirby. Hey, JT, was Liz John ever in The Champions or The Pretenders? She looks very familiar from some TV show.
Do you mean Persuaders? Pretenders are banned, isn't it?
Yeah, they are, yeah. Everybody got it, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember her being either.
No, I don't think so. No.
I'm not that familiar with every single episode of every series, so I don't know. I
haven't watched them all.
I think Nick Courtney might be in the Champions of Persuaders and
yes.
and Hopcup and all that kind of thing, yeah.
And the Avengers, I'm sure he's in the Avengers as well, isn't he, Nick?
Yes. Nick Courtney's episode of the Avengers is Mission Highly Improbable.
Is that when he gets shrunk?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching that just before Christmas because they're repeating them all again daily, aren't they? On one of those channels. Garbage is saying, "Hi, Garbage. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat. Nice to see you." To Rose, she's very similar to the Champions lady. Yes, there you go.
Alexander Bastido.
Excuse me.
Alexander Bastido.
He wasn't swearing.
Here's Graham Dawson saying Caroline had a very small part in The Woman in Black in the 1980s.
That's right, the TV version. Yes, she did.
Did she? Didn't know that either. I didn't even know they did one in the 1980s.
Yeah, very famous TV version.
They'll do one or two every decade, won't they, of that thing? Because it's such a classic.
And then she popped up in one of those rom-com comedies in the late 90s, early noughties. sort of along the lines of Notting Hill and all those. Which one was it?
Was it Love Actually she's in?
Was it Love Actually?
Didn't they cut her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
I think they cut her part though, didn't she?
Yeah, I think it's been reduced to like she's in the back somewhere, standing in a crowd somewhere.
Yeah, because they cut an awful lot of actors from that. Because I remember seeing the original cast list back in the day, thinking, "My God, this is a great film." And then you go and see the film, and even though it was a fun film of the day, you just think, "Where's such and such, and where's such and such, and where," because that lady
happens
that used to
a
live
lot, doesn't it? You can end up in the cutting room floor, can't you? That's really sad, isn't it? Yeah.
Because that lady that used to live next door to Fresh Fields. The little fat one that lived next door. She was in it as Hugh Grant's mother and got cut. Anyway, we're digressing now.
That's okay. That's why we're here, isn't it?
I know, I suppose it is. What else we got? Yeah. So, what else can we say? I mean, there's so much we can talk about this lovely lady. We are, of course, talking about Caroline John and Liz Shaw as we celebrate season 7's 55-year anniversary this month, and the performance just absolutely fantastic. I found these on the internet actually that I don't know if you've seen these, obviously Who's Views, but I thought I'd include them in the show here because this is from 1969 of Caroline in the BBC makeup room, which was legendary, of course, as we all know. But I found these pictures online. So there's Caroline there getting ready with one of those big hairdos in the BBC makeup room. Oh, look at this! Isn't it?
Is that two ambassadors beside her as well?
Yeah.
If you've ever seen any photographs of Caroline John off-duty contemporary photographs during a Doctor Who run, she went through quite a hair and makeup makeover to become Liz Shaw. I mean, she wore either a wig or hair extensions, and she wore big eyelashes and all sorts of stuff to alter her look.
Well, you can see the eyelashes there, can't you?
Yeah.
And also, if you look at the makeup desk in front, if you look at the makeup desk in front of them, there's those sort of wiry pincer things they used to do to thread the hair together. Do you remember? I can't remember what they were called. But I love these pictures though, because we all know as Doctor Who fans that the BBC makeup room was legendary.
Yes,
for the gossip.
That lady sitting on the makeup bench there, she's wearing the title sequence.
She's a Doctor Who fan, everybody.
There's always one.
Yeah, but I thought you might be interested in these because I just thought it was a lovely look.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely.
I haven't seen many pictures of Caroline behind the scenes on her time of Doctor Who, and I just thought when I found those, I thought, oh, we've got to show those because I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice, and it just shows her casually, relaxing and getting ready for the job. And then that must have been first thing in the morning, for heaven's sake.
Yeah. Were these featured probably in the Radio Times at some point? Were they?
They must have been from something like that, but they were out there. So there we go. Thank you for that, Stephen Braddock saying, lovely behind the scenes pictures of Caroline, aren't they? And Gary saying, as Caroline put it, I looked like Minnie Mouse. Oh, bless. What else we got in the chat here? Stephen saying to us as well, I remember Liz as section leader Shaw in Inferno. Even at 5, I knew what I liked. Now, steady on.
Steady the buff, Stephen. Steady the buff.
However, this particular story, we've had a lot of feedback over the last couple of weeks about this particular story and Caroline's ability to play two different characters, yet the same sort of character from the two different worlds. Now, that photo on the right for me is actually quite special, can I just say, everybody, because that's one of the earliest pictures I ever saw of Liz Shaw as a little boy, because it was in some sort of, it was either in Doctor Who Weekly or Doctor Who book or something like that. And it was a bit confusing for me at the time because it did say it had the other name and stuff like that. But it's a special picture of the black hair. Oh, wow.
She does look. She would look out of place in Prisoner Cell Block H there, don't you think? Yeah.
That black and white photograph of Caroline John there as Brigade Leader Liz Shaw, just looking at it facially, do you not think she bears a striking resemblance to Julie Walters?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I see what you mean as well, yeah.
So Educating Rita-esque a little bit. Yeah.
I know a lot of you do like that story. I know if you do like that particular aspect of the character, including Dalek Lives Matter, who's with us saying, that's my girl.
And again, going by the trailer, it looks like further restoration work's been done to the colour of Inferno as well. So it looks like we're getting an upgrade there too.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Really. I mean, for everybody that's got this pre-ordered, as I say, it's very nearly with you, and it's so exciting to be able to
have you bitten the bullet, JT? Have you succumbed to
not yet? I'm still focused. I've got season 9 coming out in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of money. So I'm still playing with the idea. I don't know.
There was a shot, going back to the trailer again, George, that I thought was particularly sharp and looked really good. Was the bit of the Silurians coming through the wall in episode 7 when they're just that looked superb. I have to say.
But also the shot of the Primoid spinning around and facing the camera that's used on the trailer, that's clearly much improved from even the special edition version.
When Stallman breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'm going to say it again, we were so lucky to have Caroline John playing this show. I mean, she made, as you guys in the chat were saying, Caroline's the one that made that part successful. Can you imagine if it had gone to an actress, no disrespect to any of the actors that were under there, but a lesser actress? They would have messed it up completely, wouldn't they? But she got it and she went, bang, this is how I'm playing her.
Having a classically trained actor was a great choice, really was. Yeah.
One thing about Caroline John being cast as Liz Shaw, I think she's the only companion I can think of from the original run of the series where I'm not aware of any other names that were considered for the role. I don't know if who else was on the shortlist for it.
No idea.
We can all reel off a list of names of the almost Joe Grants or the almost Sarah Jane Smiths or the almost Leelas.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a single name that was also in the running for Liz Shaw.
If there were any, they'd be lost in time now, won't they, really? Or the documentation or anything of ever anybody they auditioned. But it would be interesting. I wish I'd known. I wish, you don't think when you're with all these people at conventions, do you? Especially when you're younger, you don't realize that one day you're going to lose them. So you don't ask those important questions like, was she your first choice, or were you the first choice, or
was she the only choice?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just don't think. And maybe we should.
Did you know, was she cast before the Doctor was cast? I mean, would they have considered Caroline John if Ron Moody got it? I wonder if that would have been, working as a dynamic.
No, I think Pertwee was cast first.
Right.
Yeah. Because Derek Sherwin's original intention was to try and get Wendy Patbury to stay on for another season.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And Wendy quite rightly said no, didn't she? It wouldn't have worked, with no disrespect to Wendy, because I love her, but it wouldn't have worked. Zoe's trapped on 20th century Earth.
Yeah.
In a spangly cat suit.
Yeah. But no, I think it works better because I've said to you when we were talking about the story. One of my favorite little moments. There's so many little moments I love that Caroline plays, but this is one of them. That bit where she's in the car, a little bit cheesed off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit teased off. She's like, oh, okay, I'm being hoodwinked here. And it's all those lovely little things that Caroline's able to do because she's a great actress, where she's trying to give out signals to real military men in Spearhead from Space. Get me out of here.
I don't know if it's on one of the commentaries, but she said she was absolutely terrified doing that scene and was very nervous. It doesn't come across at all. It's a really, really calm performance.
Yeah, because it's one of her first, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't come across. She's just there.
He's in the zone. Definitely.
So brilliant. Yeah. Again, there's other little moments. I've got another screen grab here. One of my little favorite moments.
It's a police box in disguise. Is that right? Yeah.
Really?
A spaceship in disguise, rather. So I beg your pardon.
Yeah. I just love that whole thing about, okay, everybody around me is insane. It's very 21st century, isn't it? She's just so good. It just shows you that she's got those little comic timings as well. And part of me just wishes that sometimes I wish we'd seen a little bit more of the comic side, the fun side of Liz, because she's in there. Liz has a fun side. You can imagine her being a fantastic girl to go out with on a Saturday night.
Well, her and Captain Yates, perhaps.
The one like that always tickles me in Spearhead from Space is where the Brigadier says to her, am I getting in your way? And without missing a beat, she just goes, yes.
We've got that's there. Paul Stanford saying Liz Shaw's skepticism when she meets the Brigadier is wonderful. It's brilliantly played by Caroline. And that bit again where she doesn't care for the protocol, she just barges into that office, sits down, she says, I was even searched. It's just brilliant. And the Brig's got that wry smile that we get to love throughout the 5 years. What have we got here? Rob Alexander saying to us, Love in Spearhead, where she asks about little blue men with 3 heads. And also what we got, Komodo. I didn't know about Liz Shaw until last year. Now she's one of my favorites of all the characters. Isn't that fantastic?
That's lovely. Yeah,
I love that.
Impact.
54 years later, and he found Liz Shaw. There we are.
I know. I mean, oh gosh, I just love that. That's what original Doctor Who is doing, and there's lots of new people like Emilio and Kirsty and everybody else of that age, especially, but open to anybody. Of course, the original Doctor Who, all finding not just original Doctor Who, but all the wonderful stories and companions and aspects of it that are in it. And Liz is there. She's, Liz Shaw is there. Caroline is there. Wow, isn't that just wonderful? And on the shelves behind us, always get your physical media, everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Inferno is in my top 5 stories, says Stephen Braddock. 7 episodes and no padding at all. I could watch and have again and again and again and never get bored. It's a total classic. It's so exciting, Inferno, as well, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Really
I
is.
love and the fact they have the alternate universe thing that works so well as a kind of making the story extend itself. It works really well.
Yeah. It's actually my number 1 classic story.
Is it? Oh.
And Caroline's
nothing tops Inferno.
Caroline's story of doing the location shoot for that in the middle of a very freezing winter. The oil depot, whatever it was they used, was alive with rats. There weren't any crew toilets, just a bucket. So, not exactly the glamour of showbiz.
No, good old BBC.
Good old BBC bucket. Yes.
Nowadays,
honey bucket probably called. Yeah, we thought. Yes.
Nowadays, they serve up the BBC bucket. They don't keep it out of view. Matt, the Silent Wee Music King, what you're saying to us here at Who's Views, the Doctor Who fan. Yeah, imagine if Caroline John was the Doctor instead. I can't, because for me, I'm going to tell you again, Matt, the Doctor is not a female. He's a male of his species. I cannot imagine a woman playing the part, and have been borne out to be right about that, because it was a massive flop when they did the experiment. So I can't imagine. Even Caroline, I can't imagine her playing Emilio.
He's onto something, because she more the Doctor than Whittaker and Ncuti put together.
Yeah,
her character, she is. No, but even her character, the acting, she in all of the episodes, she is actively involved in using her brain to solve problems. That's more of a Doctor than the last 2. So in my eyes, although I agree the Doctor should never be a woman, but if she would 100% make those, those 2.
That's because she's an actor.
Like nothing, exactly.
Yeah, Caroline
job at the Doctor than any of those 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's I understand what people are saying, but she's playing a scientist here. She's on a par, and that's the beauty of this, isn't it? And of course, that's why we know that Barry Letts didn't quite like that. He thought the companion needs to be fallible. Pertwee certainly agreed with that. It's such a shame. Go on, Paul.
And you know what? She wasn't really a scientist. She was only acting. There we go. That's good acting for you. That's how acting works.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're saying, Matt, the Silent Music King. No, I wouldn't have accepted the lovely, gorgeous Caroline John as the Doctor either, because for me, does not compute. The Doctor is a male of his species. End of. And hopefully, we'll never see it ever again. Mind you, it might be coming off soon, so we'll never know. Liz Shaw was a fantastic companion for season 7, says Mark Milford. Nice to see you, Mark Milford. Perfectly fitting the more mature, grounded and scientific tone of the season. The season 7 episodes were movie quality, and she was a movie star. Oh, that's nice as well. I like that.
I think it's to use the word again, a testament to Caroline John that Liz Shaw was such a rounded and believable and strong character. But if thinking about it, back in the day, Liz Shaw probably could have carried her own spin-off series.
I was wondering when one of you would come up with this.
I'm thinking, things of the day like Doomwatch and that sort of stuff. After Inferno, the continuity announcer saying, starting next week, an exciting new drama series, Liz Shaw Investigates, or something like that.
Well, Liz Shaw Adventures.
Well, as somebody said to us in one of our shows here, we're celebrating season 55. The third Doctor and Liz, and this put it into my head, the third Doctor and Liz are the foundations of Mulder and Scully.
Yeah.
In the X-Files, all those years later. You know, and I get where that comes from. I understand what you're saying there, because it's that wonderful sort of rapport. And Scully is that sort of female as well. No nonsense, direct approach, needs to have the facts. The facts.
I think the thing is, even though Liz is an intelligent character, the Doctor does have to explain things to her which are beyond her remit, but he doesn't do it in a way that's patronising, or and she can understand it and rationalise it in a different way to, say, Joe or someone like Joe's character, you know, or Zoe or something like that, or Victoria, you know.
What's nice as well is Liz explains stuff to the Brigadier.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the real companion, isn't he?
But it would have been brilliant, because had they gone with that sort of stuff, and obviously we're speculating, but I think Liz, can you imagine with all the characters around Liz and Caroline absolutely being the lead? Yes, it would have worked, no doubt. No doubt. Based in some sort of operation in Cambridge. Yeah.
I think that the spin-off idea kind of speaks to probably the disappointing way that she kind of written out of the series. I think it's anticlimactic for her to go back just to Cambridge, because her world has been opened up by the Doctor's universe. So for me, for it to be, even if they had used they could have definitely used a better line or a better explanation for why she'd left, that would show that progression from skepticism to her eyes being opened up to maybe doing something with that, or you know, with that you know, the Doctor's impact on her life. It's a bit like, she turned up, she helped the Doctor a little bit, and she just gone back to normal life. It's just a bit deflating, if that makes sense.
It shows actually the difference here between us and you guys that have come in with the new series, because nowadays you get the Doctor moping around for a whole year when his companion leaves. You know, with us, we just got on with this. Next.
I would be fine with it.
I think it's more the fish as well.
It's more the explanation. I think I don't mind a throwaway line, and I don't need a big emotional kind of goodbye. But what I mean, I think the explanation should have done her character closure and justice to the arc she has gone on over season 7.
I know what you're saying. It's just that's not how it worked back then. It was very much out of sight, out of mind.
There were emotional farewells, weren't they? Like Green Death,
like Joe,
Joe,
and Sarah Jane, even Leela.
And if you watch the proper War Games, the leaving of Zoe and Jamie, for instance, as well.
Hugely. I like this remark in space. I'm proud to be a person to be born in the early 90s to find classic Who first. All 4 stories in season 7 is in my top 10. Good to know, Ark in Space. Absolutely fantastic. We've got this one as well. Michael Q saying, Graham, in response to Graham, Doctor Who and a Doom Watch crossover. That's what the Liz series would have been. It could have been that. Can you imagine her trying to battle all sorts of diseases?
Well, is the actor called John Paul who's in Doom Watch? He looks very Pertwee-esque, don't you think?
Domgo is saying Silurians and Inferno are the best Pertwee stories. No competition. They're just amazing. And Komodo is actually saying, is there any other companion who marches into the show with such confidence?
From day one?
Well, Sarah's quite confident in Time Lord, isn't she? Yeah.
I would say both Romanas.
Yeah.
Possibly. I know what Komodo's getting to, though, because I think Caroline had a slight advantage, Komodo, of the confidence there, because they were all new.
Yeah,
they were all new. Where everybody that came after her wasn't. You had Liz coming in with Pertwee, you had Mary coming in with Tom, you had Lala coming in with Tom, so they had to really get over there, you know. But I think it's probably wonderful when you're coming into something brand new and everybody on set is new, and most of the production team are new as well. So I think that would have helped with the confidence to be able to say, and also because she had this marvelous character of Liz Shaw, not seen in Doctor Who before, because she actually said, didn't she, Caroline, that it was sold to her on the fact that it was going to be different.
Yeah.
And it blooming was. She heard those words, I reckon. She heard those words as an actor and went, good, I'm having this way. And then she saw the scripts, the quality of the script.
I wonder if they had convinced Wendy to do it, would have made Wendy more adult then and made her more like Liz.
I don't think so. I think they would have actually had to keep her as it is, because the children wouldn't have known who she was.
Well, could they? Because she's couldn't they make it so that obviously she's going to be more intelligent also than everybody else? So they could have gone down that route, Paul.
Yeah.
And basically molded her slightly toward the kind of Liz Shaw. But I probably agree. I think we all agree it probably wouldn't have worked definitely in the same way.
No, I think it would have stuck it.
I think I agree with you, JT. The clean slate works really well. I think for it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Does anyone know? Has anyone ever heard Wendy talking about? Has she done any behind the scenes for the season 7 box set? Where she's looking at her successor.
Well, she might be on season 7. I don't know if she is. I don't think she is.
I think that would be quite interesting because it's the year after she's gone. I'd be quite interested to see what they came up with. I'd be quite interested in hearing what Wendy would say about Liz. I like this from John. Liz Shaw is in Cambridge and it working for Morse. It worked for Morse. It certainly did work for Morse. It would have been a big thing. And Ark in Space saying to us, Liz Shaw is skeptical at first, just like Scully in the X-Files. Stephen saying, the BBC missed a trick with Liz's character. She could have joined as a scientist in the TV series Doomwatch. Her character would have fitted in perfectly. And John Mason is saying, shame she wasn't in the 5 Doctors. She
kind of wasn't she? I know she was, but she wasn't.
It's a ghosty thing, isn't it, really? And I remember being quite disappointed on that night, on the 25th. Note, the 25th of November, 1983. I'm still bitter. I am still bitter. The 25th. I'm bitter.
I went to America first.
But I was actually really disappointed that, because part of me was like, oh, when's Zoe going to turn up? When's Jamie going to turn up? And when is Liz going to turn up? Because I knew those 3 were in it, and I so wanted them to be reunited with the Doctors and be part of the big family. And we got this whole thing where she's just a wee ghosty thing, an illusion of the mind, and I was so disappointed. But there's Caroline looking fabulous there in 1983, isn't she?
I can just imagine in that previous photo, Caroline John saying to John Pertwee, "John, I've just worked with Tom Baker. He's a scream. Have you met him?"
Oh, you little minx, George.
Isn't there a story though that John Pertwee said when she was rehearsing the scene that he said, "Are you going to do it like that?" And that's a horrible thing to say to another actor.
Oh yeah, for any actor to do it to another actor.
And I think Peter Moffat said, "Well, why? What's wrong with it?" And put him in his place, which is wonderful.
And didn't Caroline apparently go, "Oh, here we go." It's like we haven't been away.
There
we are, giving as good as she gets yet again.
Yeah.
Do you think Tom had done the 5 Doctors, and they would have obviously partnered him with Sarah? I wondered if maybe they would have chosen Liz rather than Joe to be with Pertwee, because I don't know. I'm not sure whether you could have Joe and Sarah. I don't know. I think they could have gone with Liz. That had that.
Wasn't the Brig originally intended to be with Pertwee originally? And then
I know the original intention was for Katie Manning to come back as Joe Grant to partner with John Pertwee, but she was living in Australia at the time. Logistically, it just couldn't be done.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, this is the whole thing about the 5 Doctors, isn't it? Because it was moving all the time.
Yeah,
it was constantly moving. What actors are available? What isn't? Who isn't? Who's dropping out?
I do think it works to its advantage not having Tom. I think in it because it'd be too overcrowded. I think you know what I mean.
Because Debbie Watling was originally scheduled to be in it, and she dropped out as well.
Yeah, because she got.
She got Dimensions in Time, didn't she?
Yes. Yes. No.
Yeah, she got UXB.
Yeah, and it was a longer run for her, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So she had to do it. I saw her actually talking about Debbie very quickly. God love her. Another one we've lost. What a woman she was. She was in Rising Damp, and I just caught it last night. I was like, "There's Debs." I love it with old things.
I saw Caroline Ford and the Likely Lads on a week ago.
Yes, I've seen that episode as well. Being all salacious.
Yeah, well,
now I'm just waiting to see
that's
Caroline.
what Debbie Watling's like in Danger UXB as well. She's very naughty in that. Yeah. So.
Oh, is she? Well, I'm just waiting to see. I wish they would repeat the Tom's Hound of Baskervilles. I don't know why they hasn't appeared anything. I've been looking for it. I think Garbage told me it's not available on home media at the moment either. It was deleted.
Bizarrely, BBC have released it on DVD in Australia, but not the UK.
Yeah. Which is weird. There must be something wrong. I'm going to try and find out what's going on with that. That's weird.
And Tom's done a commentary for it as well.
Wow.
Did he?
Yeah.
Crikey. Wow.
Probably saying how bad he thought he was in it.
Yes, he basically rips himself to pieces throughout the entire commentary.
Oh, right. Domgo was saying to us, I wonder what season 8 would have been like if Liz had stayed. It would have been different. This is the thing about Liz, in my opinion, Domgo, is that she wouldn't fit into season 8 because it is different again, isn't it? It's
compared to season 7, it's slightly dumbed down, but it's still great. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. It's cuddly.
Yeah.
Season 8. Season 8 is cuddly, and Liz wouldn't have fitted into that cuddly.
I think if the character had stayed into season 8, I think the jumping off point for her would have been Claws of Axos. I think
good
after
point.
that,
good point.
I think after that, the character probably wouldn't have worked in that format. I mean, I think she would have been absolutely superb in The Mind of Evil.
Yeah, because that's more
that's a season 7 story that's made its way into season 8.
You can imagine her in the prison stopping the riots and getting the gun and all that kind of stuff, can you?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad she's in season 7. I'm also quite pleased she's not actually in the produced season 8 the way Barry wanted it. Yeah, I don't think she would have worked. That's what I'm thinking.
I think the 3 Doctors, like you said, would have been a good idea, because there's also the arc of, she's been trying to help the 3rd Doctor kind of, get back to, being able to fly and leave Earth. So obviously the 3 Doctors is a real turning point. It would have been a nice kind of tie-in, I think, to that.
Emilio, this is the conversation. You're going to love this. This is the conversation I had about 150 years ago in a pub. And it's one of these things that we as fans used to do. We'd be sitting around in a drink thinking, oh, wouldn't it be? And this was a conversation me and my friends at the time had about, we even worked this out about the 3 Doctors. This is how sad we were, everybody. But you've all done it as well. We're all Doctor Who nerds.
It's called the what if scenario, isn't it?
Exactly. It is. And we're sitting there and we decided, wouldn't it have been fun if it was Liz that had been the scientist in the 3 Doctors and was the one that was working with the Doctor and then kidnapped, and the Doctor's right now, we've got to go, Joe. We've got to go after her.
So instead of Dr. Tyler, perhaps then,
instead of Dr. Tyler, Dr. Shaw, and because she's been kidnapped by the goo, that really pushes the Doctor on because he's a little bit angry to say, right now, we're going in there and we're going to get her. But that's one of the things we all thought about.
Going off topic slightly, the great shame of the 3 Doctors for me was William Hartnell wasn't well enough to have a full active role in it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
All these what ifs. We love the what ifs. Maybe we should do a show in future about the what ifs, because there's loads of them. We can all give our views.
Well, imagine if Patrick Troughton stayed for season 7. That'd be very different.
He'd sorted out his tax bill by that point. So.
Probably, yeah. Just before January, that was it. Yes.
Legion of James is saying this to us. Am I the only one who has seen the Probe series where Caroline reprised her role as Liz? Straight to video, but I enjoyed them. Straight to video makes it sound awful, but they were made for video back. This was during the Wilderness years, obviously.
That's where the pipe came in again. That was it.
That's where I saw. Were there 3 of them? Legion of James. Were there 3? I saw part of the first one.
I
couldn't get through it, I'm afraid, so I didn't follow the others. A friend of mine who did follow them said they got better, needed to really. But what did you think of it? Did you guys see the Probe series? There was Caroline John as Liz Shaw in these independent stories.
I've seen it. It was very good. But Linda Lazardi was in it with her. I think that was a bit of an interesting.
Oh, was that the one she was in?
One of them certainly.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's so long ago. I'm getting them all confused.
Yeah.
I remember.
I quite like the Auton series. Was quite good. That started off quite well. The first couple of them, they were quite good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Certainly the first one was quite good, yeah.
I would have so that because you've got Liz in that one, did she make reference to her time?
Now I'm going to have to stop you there because if we're doing a Wilderness Years program, save it for that.
All right then. Write that down just to remember. John is saying to us, John Mason saying, I've got 3 or 4 of them. They're not bad from the Probe series. Yeah. I was young. Maybe I would appreciate them more now at the age I am now, 28. What you like laughing at? Legion of James is saying to us, I really like them, but yes, very straight to video filmed on a camcorder.
Beatles about, yeah. So,
yeah. And Stephen Braddock is saying, I've never heard of Probe. Was she very Liz in this video series?
I can't really remember, but she was good, but it wasn't her best work, I don't think. I would say that. But yeah.
It was nice of Caroline to come back for it, though, wasn't it? Really do that.
I've never seen them, but I'm getting the idea. It's whoever it was, it's like, oh, that's great, Caroline, you do it. We're absolutely delighted you're going to do it. Any chance we could use your living room as a location?
Yeah, because it's free. Exactly. Yeah. Well, we've had many of. Well, there's lots of these to talk about, GT, later. I'm sure
there is, and we'll do that. Yeah, because they were happy days. It was great to see the actors coming back for it as well. But Julianne saying, I've seen Probe on Natural Selection decades ago. The VHS is in the loft. The VHS, Emilio. Now, VHS, Emilio, was a sort of cassette thing.
I remember going to the video store. So.
And one thing we hated, Emilio, is when they used to get chewed in your video recorder. That was awful. That was like such an awful thing to happen to you.
Wasn't it? That used to frighten me when you were gently putting your.
And then you try and play it again. You had a Venetian blind effect on your picture. It was awful. Yeah.
No, I didn't know this either.
I just about remember
some sort of magnetic source.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't know this. Paul Stenterford's just told us. I didn't know this. I highly recommend Stranger Breach of the Peace, where Caroline appears alongside David Trout, Colin Baker, and Nicholas Briggs. I didn't know Caroline had done those. I knew Nicola had done them, obviously. I think it was Nicola Bryant, wasn't it? But I didn't know Caroline had done one. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that. Here's Sean Cryer. As much as I love Doctor Who Season 8 onwards, I often wonder how Who would have progressed had it kept the Season 7 flavour. Oh.
I would love to have been straighter for longer, but I think it was probably the right decision. I think in the end,
it had a certain shelf life. I think you couldn't have that continuously. You could probably get away with another season,
possibly,
like it, but
it
would need to be shaken up and changed a little bit.
I agree with you, Emilio. I think you may have got one more season out of it, and that would be it.
Yeah.
I think The Minds of Evil proves that. They could have done one like that. It would have to been a short season. It wouldn't have to be the length that season 8 turned out to be.
Yeah, I think the fact they made them into smaller stories may have helped a little bit in that respect. As much as I love the 7-parters, I think for a general audience, it's probably too long. So having more fours and fives and whatever in season 8 was better in terms of changing the story more often as well to get more viewers and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Graham's asking us here, can we imagine the Master in any season 7 story?
Give anybody ideas.
Can we imagine the Master alongside Liz? Sure.
Peter Miles is the Master. That's who he was, really. And Dr. Lawrence is the Master.
I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine the Master with Liz, to be quite honest, because she wouldn't have stood for the nonsense, quite frankly.
Yeah,
and I think also the Master, especially the Delgado incarnation, would have been fascinated by Liz and would have tried to have used her.
Yeah. You just stirred a memory, JT. One of the 1990s Doctor Who yearbooks, the sort of reborn annuals, there's a short story in there where the Master hunts down Liz or meets Liz and gets a hold of unit files, and it sort of like leads into how he teams up with the Autons.
Oh, see, that for me is one of those fan things where you try to bring everything together. Yeah. Does it work, George? Is it good?
Oh, it's been such a long time since I've read it. Right. Just as you were saying that, it stirred a memory. I'd have to go back and look it up again, but it's in one of those yearbooks from the 1990s.
Didn't they do a Missing Adventures from Virgin where she encounters him as well? I can't remember.
Possibly, I don't remember.
I'm trying to look at them all down here, and
I really don't
they're all flying out, so I don't know. Maybe not.
I agree with you, JT. That ultimately, I don't think it would work, the Master and Liz, because you do need. I guess with Jo Grant, she's a lot more kind of, let's say, timid. She's younger. She's more
gullible,
like excited and scared by the Master. You got to establish the Master as a threat, and so. If you had, like, as you say, Liz wouldn't have taken any crap. So I think to establish the Master as a real kind of nemesis for the Doctor, you kind of do need a companion that is going to be like more screamy and more kind of scared. And
I think Steve Henley may agree with you there, because he's saying Liz was perfect for season 7 and Jo was perfect for series 8. I think we're all going to agree on that one as well. But for that one there, I don't think Liz would have no, I think she would have had sharp words to say to the master. None of your nonsense. Put that away.
As we're talking this, I'm trying to imagine Liz and all the stories, and you know what I mean. It kind of
you can't really, can you?
You can't. I can't see in the demons. I can't see in Coney in space. You know, it's weird. But,
No.
Not in the same context as Joe was, you know.
Yeah, Domgo's saying to us, I would have loved the Master to be the evil Doctor from the Inferno parallel universe. In my head canon, he still is, as he appears in the very next story. Fair enough. That's what we do as fans, isn't it? You know, we do all these sort of what if type things.
So the Doctor should have had a beard, a bit like Spock in that Star Trek episode.
That Star Trek episode, yeah. I mean, that's what we do as fans, though, isn't it? We speculate about all these things. It's absolutely wonderful. I think we can come to the conclusion that season 7 is special on so many levels, but certainly special because it has Liz in there.
100%.
I think one thing that underlines that Caroline John as Liz Shaw was seen as an integral part of the series back in the day is she's one of the very, very few companions to be on the cover of that year's Doctor Who annual.
That's right. Yeah. The only one, the only one with the credit, as you say, but we didn't get companions on there properly until the 80s when John came along.
I think only one I think Jamie's on the 68 cartoon form as well.
There's one of Jamie, the one with the Cybermen and TARDIS doorway.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's the lovely one. That one. Yeah.
But aside from that, and she's the only companion to actually get a full name check in the annual.
And as you said a while ago on one of our shows, therefore, I find that's really yours.
Good for her. Yeah.
I like that. Again, it showed the element that this was a slightly mature series, and they loved. I love the fact that they actually worked with the production team to actually include the Doctor and Liz in those stories, which are brilliant, by the way, as well, aren't they? They're quite 7-ish.
And ironically, that's probably why the annual didn't sell as well, because the series was suddenly pitched at an audience whose age demographic was greater than the average annual reader.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's possibly the other reason Barry changed the format slightly as well, because but as we know, season 7 was doing all right ratings wise.
I mean, it doubled the ratings on season 6.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, did Liz Shaw appear in any TV comic strips or any comic strips outside the annual, or no?
I don't know if she did retrospectively decades down the line, but back in the day, no.
Because there's some weird Pertwee comic strips, aren't there?
Well, the initial TV comic strip, the third Doctor was exiled to Earth, but he was living in a hotel.
That's right. Yeah.
And before that, Troughton was living on Earth as well, wasn't he? Then he got captured by scarecrows or something and taken back to Gallifrey. Some bizarre.
Well, turned out to be
weird.
Just totally bizarre. These writers back then just didn't understand. It must have been very confusing for the kids reading TV comic. I remember when I was reading, when I was at primary school, if it rained outside, you weren't allowed out for some bizarre reason. You weren't allowed to go and play out in the rain. So you would have to sit in the class. And I remember teachers bringing out all these big boxes of old comics they got from heaven knows where. And I was always the first one in when I realized that TV comic had a Doctor Who comic strip, but it would confuse the life out of me. Yeah. Why was John Pertwee's Doctor living in a hotel or a house, or who's that person there?
Yes, and could practice levitation.
I know. And why did Tom Baker look like John Pertwee with dark hair? Happy days, though, eh? Absolutely. Hey, listen to this from Mark Milford. In Ridley Scott's 2012 film Prometheus, a character is named Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. I think we all noticed that as Who fans. And didn't we all think, I wonder if Ridley was just doing a little tribute there.
Well, he's clearly a fan, as he paid homage to Ark in Space, didn't he? So there we are.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, I've often wondered if Ridley Scott ever saw the Ark in Space before he made the first Alien movie.
Yeah.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
In our head canon, he did. So
exactly. Well, just like in our head canon, George Lucas got Darth Vader from Slaar from Seeds of Death.
Well, in my head canon, I always imagine January, February 1981, Caroline John sitting down at home with a cup of tea, watching The Keeper of Traken because her husband's in it.
I love that. I love.
Yeah.
You know what though? I bet they didn't, because it's just work, isn't it? I bet, oh, you're on the telly tonight, love. It doesn't matter, love. Let's read. I love the image of those two reading every night, reading to each other. I just think that is so romantic and so beautiful.
It's lovely, yeah.
Lex is saying to us, Liz Shaw was the Emma Peel of the day in Doctor Who, wasn't she? Just, and we mentioned it as well. That bit where she's running over the bridge, or whatever you call that, the weir, whatever
On the weir, yeah.
That's an Avengers shot if ever I've seen one there, with nice music. Yes.
As I said before, knowing that she was pregnant when she did it.
I know.
Yeah.
She carried on. What a trooper. It's fantastic to hear all these wonderful comments about Caroline John, says Stephen Braddock. I hope she is looking down and feels proud and vindicated that she's not forgotten and sees just how loved she is. I hope so, because it's heartbreaking that we've lost so many of our beloved actors and therefore their characters. Because it had a lot of them being around with us today. You could reach out and say, right, are you going to come on or do stuff like that? Because they'd love all these formats, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And to see them on the convention circuits would still be, oh, bless them. But you know what? They're with us. They're with us.
Yeah.
They're never going away.
I'm delighted she was around long enough to enjoy all the royalties that came in from the boom in the video sales, the DVDs, and all the rest of it.
That's true. Because, of course, as we know, Caroline sadly left us on the 5th of June, 2012, which isn't it amazing? It still seems like yesterday.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
When the news came through.
Yes. The other thing about Caroline John is she narrated the audiobook version of Liz Sladen's autobiography.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because I haven't got the audio version. I've just got the hardback and I've got the paperback. I haven't got the audio version. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the audio, and she does it really, really well.
Yeah. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall when those two met up and chatted about stuff, because they would have had some really good conversations, Liz and Caroline, I am sure. God bless them. God bless them. I didn't know this either from Rob Alexander, who's saying to us that Caroline's niece was on Castrovalva.
Oh, nice.
Well, was that the little girl who asked when the doctor's time to count?
That's ringing a bell.
The little girl. Is that her niece? I think maybe.
That's ringing a bell, Paul. Is that right, Rob? Is that who it was? And what's this from Julianne? Liz Shaw was in the Prisoners of Time comic omnibus. Prisoners of Time. Is that one of the Titan things, Julianne? So it's a modern one. Is that right? Let me know, because I don't remember it. Because in Britain, of course, I remember all the TV comics, and then that morphed eventually, didn't it, into Doctor Who Weekly.
Yeah.
And a variation of that strip is still going today, as we know, in Doctor Who magazine. So let us know on that one, please. And Julie Wendy, it speaks volumes that we have so much love for the show from 55 years ago, and nobody remembers or cares about the series in 2024. It was a testament to brilliant production, great writers, great direction, and superb actors who got it. And Caroline,
and no crying.
Yeah.
No.
Quality doesn't go away.
No.
I mean, even when Liz Shaw is hit by the Silurian, she screams, but she doesn't cry, does she?
No, exactly. Shooty Doctor would have just wept into tears.
He'd be in a corner curled up, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. But not Liz, because she's made of good stuff.
Hard as nails. Yeah.
Caroline was the same school of quality actor as Diana Rigg, says Gary Bryant. Apparently they knew each other as well. I love the fact that they all walked in the same circles, and they knew. Could you imagine them all in a TV show? Why did nobody ever just get them all in for one big show? And Rob Alexander, yes, Paul, Castrovalva. That does ring a bell. I think John Nathan Turner said that in the monthly, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Something like that. Thanks for reminding us on that one, Rob. That's brilliant. Thank you. And Lex is saying again to us, yes, Caroline was in the Santa Claus movie. The one who played Mrs. Claus was in Keeping Up Appearances. That's true. Yes, we've got 2 Doctor Who links in that. Worth watching it. She's in it very, 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 very quickly. It's one of those things that was edited, but she's in right at the very 1984, I think, Santa Claus the movie. She's in right at the very beginning scene. But it's nice to see her. It really is nice to see her in that. Absolutely fantastic. So here we are. I mean, goodness me, what a performance from Caroline John, giving us one of the strongest companions we'd had to date. and certainly one of the strongest companions ever. Hey, guys.
So, does everyone have a favourite Liz Shaw moment?
Ooh.
I was going to say mine is the one in the car where she's slightly peeved.
Yeah,
because that's always the one I remember. I just love that. But
yeah,
I like her last scene in Inferno when she basically just kind of like taking the piss out of Brigadier, and the laugh at the end. I think that just image of her laughing about the Doctor and the Brigadier. That for me just sums up her
I think it's quite sad that's our last scene, because it's quite poignant. It's the last scene, is that she's laughing and then the titles come on. It's quite sad, really. But
but it kind of in that scene you just get that you get the character dynamic between the three, and also how she kind of responds to both the Brig and the Doctor. It's lovely.
Well, when she says, "I wonder how you got on without him," and all that she keeps jibing him. That's lovely at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is all those little scenes that make it, isn't it? The way that Caroline perfects it with Nick and with John. I mean, just beautiful moments with those three.
I do like that wonderful character moment in Spearhead from Space when they're in Madame Tussauds and Pertwee's looking at the watch of the waxworker General Scobie whilst everybody's milling around, and Caroline John's going, "Doctor, what are you doing? Doctor, what are you doing?"
We've got a couple of our chums in the chat getting onto this one now. Legion of James saying to us, "Mine is the delivery of this line. When I was a little girl, I thought I'd like to be a scientist, so I became a scientist. It always makes me laugh."
That's Anne Travers, isn't it, from the Web of Fear? Isn't it?
I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Still a good line, nonetheless.
Lex is saying to us, was she last at the Doctor landing in a skip? And Liz laughing. This is the old time, one of the old time. "Don't worry, Brigade Leader, we're still here," says Stephen Braddock. And Steve Hindley saying to us, "My favourite scene is the one with General Scobie, Camouflage General." Camouflage, with the police box. That's the one where I think she's blinking at him. "Get me out of this.
Save me, help me."
Julianne, what are you saying, Julianne? Caroline John, proof that it's not just the quality of stories lacking in current Who, but also the quality of the actors.
Yeah.
Well, Caroline would just turn up and act them off the stage, wouldn't she? Really? Can you imagine? I wish I'd seen her in a play. I wish I'd seen her live. Because by all accounts, she loved it. She loved the theatre. There was, where.
Well, I think if you can access that Shakespeare I mentioned earlier, that'll have been done virtually in like a live performance, so you'll get an idea from there.
Yeah. My peak Liz moment, says Mudcrap, is at the end of Silurians when sitting in Bessie, the caves explodes. The Doctor asks Liz if she knew, and she just turns to him in absolute horror.
And says no. Yeah, that's a really good moment. Yeah, lovely. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and we talked about that in our Doctor Who.
I love the bit in Silurians as well when the Doctor doesn't want her to come down at the caves to go and try and rescue, go to the caves and meet the Silurians, and she threatened to tell the Brigadier about Dr. Quinn being dead. That's a lovely moment as well.
It is, isn't it? Because again, there she is holding her own as another scientist who's saying, "Why should you get all the fun?" And she doesn't care about the implications of being eaten by a dinosaur or the possible dangers down there. This is a science trip that she has to be on.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah,
stunning, proper character.
Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. What else we got here? Thank you, Lex, who's saying the different hairstyle she had over each story she was in as well. Yes, very nice. Well, listen, everybody. This has been companion piece from here of us here at Who's Views. We've been celebrating season 55, as you know, this month, January 2025, as we're broadcasting live. And yes, we couldn't not look at Caroline John and Liz Shaw because such an important part of that season. It's a one-off season 7, as we've all agreed, isn't it? For many reasons.
I'm very
one of them.
Yeah, I'm very envious of people who are going to discover season 7 and Caroline John as Liz Shaw in the forthcoming box set for the first time.
For the first time, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that great? If you are,
you're in for a treat.
Yeah. Do let us know. You can message us. You can email us, whosviews1@gmail.com. Did she wear a wig? Frequently, I believe, Dalek Eye.
I Sorry, I was just going to say, I believe she wore hair extensions in Spearhead from Space and the Silurians, augmenting her own hair, and then she wore a wig in the Ambassadors and Inferno.
Paul Stanford saying, one of my favourite Liz Shaw scenes is in Spearhead from Space, where she tells General Scobie when he asks about the police thoughts, it's a spaceship. That's where she's telling him, get me out of here. Ark in Space, my favourite is Don't Worry, I'm Not Going to Hurt You in Ambassadors, and her fight scene on that weir. Julianne, producing invisible ink, that sort of thing, smirk. I'm really putting him in his place there. Fantastic show, guys, says Lex. Thank you so much. And hello to Small Swole Goat. Hope I've said that right. Nice to see you again. Controversial opinion. Books and audios that desperately try to make Liz and Joe meet are superfluous. I said that right?
Yeah. Big Finish have been... Daisy Ashford's been playing her mum in the audios. Yeah, it's more of that. Actors playing their mums and stuff like that. It's a bit overdone, I'm afraid.
I'm agreeing with Small Swallow Goat there, though. It didn't happen on telly. Don't want it to happen anywhere else. I mean, again, it's just fan stuff, and it's for diehard fans, so it's not for me. Not for me. Paul Centfer saying, Liz Shaw, such a wonderful character, played so brilliantly by Caroline John. She'll never be forgotten. Absolutely not. And we've got to make sure that all the new fans, the normal new fans, take all the old ones on with us, so that they do live on. You know, that's the importance of it, isn't it? Legion James, thank you, saying great show again. I can't wait to get my season 7 Blu-ray. Clearly I need a refresh, unbelievably. What an excuse though to go and watch it though.
Yeah.
Next is saying I can't wait. Rob Alexander is saying Caroline had uncredited roles in Santa Claus movie and Love Actually. Yeah, we talked about those as well. Thank you so much. Graham is agreeing with you, with us all here. Imagine seeing season 7 for the first time. What a treat, and what a culture shock it's going to be. Having grown up on the stuff that they've been churning out over the last few years, you're going to get to see proper
quality,
proper characters, proper writing. Just what I mean, it's not even that hard to ask. I mean, that's what people want. That's what gets you gripped, keeps you entertained.
Yeah, absolutely. Fist bump pair from Paul Thomas Ashworth. There, I've seen that one. Thank you very much. It's going like that.
Oh, superb.
That is brilliant. How did he do it? Don't tell me, I don't want to know. But thank you for that, Paul Thomas Ashworth, PTA. Yes, appreciate this. And we've got this from Stephen Braddock. Tonight's tribute to Caroline John was simply wonderful and fitting for such a great character and actress, and character actress as that as well. She proved the point, didn't she? Really did prove the point. Mark is saying to us, in 2010, in the Sarah Jane Adventures, Liz visited the unit moon base and was unable to return to Earth for the 11th Doctor's supposed funeral. Yeah, I didn't like that reference.
Yeah, that wasn't very believable, was it? Yeah.
No, Liz on a moon base.
Yeah.
No. And then he goes and forgets her in the Tennant things, because apparently Mel says, do you remember Mel says, I was the first redhead? Yeah. Hand in your fan credentials on many levels.
When the doctor said that he's the first scientific advisor, although technically isn't Liz the first?
Liz is the first. Yeah.
Apparently, talking about fan sort of pretension and stuff. Apparently, Russell plans to have more references to LaCursha and Time with the Rani with Mel, but they cut them out apparently, which is just as well.
Yeah. I love this, John. That's just a thanks, guys. The Blu-ray is pre-ordered.
Enjoy.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. What else we got? Where have we got? Rob is also saying to us, thanks for a great tribute to Caroline Liz Shaw. And Steve is saying, although I also love the TARDIS console scene where Liz and the Doctor keep appearing and disappearing. Yeah, they sort of play on that again, don't they?
Day of the Daleks.
Day of the Daleks. Yeah. But I think
I've never got taking the console out. I've never quite got that.
I've never understood that.
Yeah.
Weird, because when I was a kid, I always assumed the console went into the floor like they show in the new series.
Like I said last time, I imagined that there'd be two or three guys in brown coats like Morecambe and Wise trying to get the console out of the doors.
It's all flat.
2 meat like the Chocker Brothers. 2 meat. You kind of think they're going out.
Flat pack console.
We're going to have to tilt it.
Yeah.
IKEA instructions. That's what it got. Yeah.
It's a flat pack TARDIS console. It just folds up.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, as we mentioned that, and as you all know, Doctor Who, the collection, season 7 is going to be in your grubby little protuberances very, very soon. Enjoy every single moment, every single feature, and let's celebrate as we have been doing this January, 55 years of season 7, and therefore 55 years of the mighty Pertwee era. Wow. Listen, I'm so glad that you've all joined us for this show now. Our companion piece here is part of our celebrations of season 7, getting to that ripe old age. I'm so delighted that there's so much love out there for Caroline John and Liz Shaw. We have found that out over the last few weeks, haven't we, guys? We really, really have. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. So listen, thank you so much. I've got another comment here from, what are you saying here, Small Swole? I remember watching The Third Doctor for the first time around 2008, I think. Oh, God. It was quite a contrasting thing to watch along the contemporary campy RTD style, but I've started the classics from Hartnell. Well, good for you, and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I love it, actually. It makes me feel really old, I have to admit.
But it's great. It's drawing younger fans in. It's superb.
It is,
I love that. Absolutely love that. Really do.
Yeah. I love, and that's what's keeping Doctor Who alive, just like we did when we were kids. We were lucky when we were kids; we were getting it every week. You know, I'm growing up with it. But it's like that time in the 90s when the show was off air. The younger ones were coming in, and I'm glad it's happening again. And so,
but we've mentioned UK Gold many times. A lot of fans got into it after it finished and got into it through that. And this is a bit like now, isn't it? Going back to the Blu-rays or the DVDs. It's lovely.
Small Go, you're in for a real treat if you're finding... have you seen anything from season 7? Because if you haven't, you're in for a real treat on that one. It's like nothing you would have seen before. And Mark Milford saying, Caroline John took the time to learn terminology appropriate to Liz's background, only to find that Doctor Who barely took its science seriously. Yeah, I remember hearing her say something about that. And I don't think I thought she would laugh it off. But
that's one of the funny lines Pertwee has when she says, "What are you doctor of?" Practically everything. You know, it's brilliant. I love all that.
Yes, I remember Caroline John said that when she got cast, she went out and bought a couple of scientific reference books, so she could bone up on it. And then she got into the studio, and none of it was relevant.
And everybody went, "What are you talking about, love?" Stand over there. I love it.
Yeah, stand by to reverse the polarity. There we are.
I know. No. Hugely enjoyable show, folks. Love these reminiscences. That's Graham. Thank you very much. And Legion of James is also saying, and congratulations on the channel gaining so many subscribers. It's well deserved. The family is growing. It certainly is. Listen, it can grow even more. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you have been with us for a while, please make sure you are still subscribed to our channel. We've got lots more content coming in for you. What a month this has been, and what a way to end our season 7 at 55 years old series. I mean, it's just
how old is it again, just to check?
But you know what, as I've said before, guys, it doesn't show it, does it?
No.
If it softens the blow, Paul, it's 660 months old.
That's much better, thank you. That's much younger.
Thank you for Paul Stanton for saying that, and also thank you, Lex, for your super chat there. What I like about season 7 is there's no blooming sonic screwdriver. I added the word blooming there, but no sonic screwdriver. Isn't it better?
You can't find it, can you? In Silurians, you're trying to find it to dismantle the computer, isn't it? Which is great.
It's surprising the sonic screwdriver doesn't appear in the Pertwee run until the Sea Devils halfway through.
Sea Devils, and
it's so closely associated with him.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? It's great to see you all. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show. I'm glad you've enjoyed this mini season we've done as well for season 7. I think makes season 7 my first collection Blu-ray purchase as Komodo. Coincidentally, my exploration of classics started with series 7. I've done everything up to 22 over the last year. Brilliant, fantastic. That's brilliant. Gary's saying to us, I was born the day after the Silurians episode 2 and a day before the Doomwatch episode 1. Thank you, Gary. And Small Swalgo getting back to us. I've watched all the classics and heard around 3,000 audios. Gosh, you poor ears. And not sure how many books by now, but Whittaker era made me drop Doctor Who. Made to watch it, and RTD2 only with friends just to laugh at it. Yeah, fair enough.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, yeah. But go and have a look at season 7 with the mighty Pertwee. Honestly, you're going to love it. Absolutely. And of course, with the fabulous and much missed Caroline John, to whom we dedicate this show, of course. What a woman she was. And I'm so pleased I got to meet her and get her autograph. And what a joy she was. But what an actress. A phenomenal talent. And weren't we bloody lucky to have her in Doctor Who?
We were.
So lucky. What a woman.
Derek Sherwin's casting right on the money yet again.
Great casting, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was doing. That man. We've got to talk about him some point. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show. I'm glad you've enjoyed these looks at season 7. Enjoy your box sets. Every minute of them. Wring it out until you're really sick of it. Watch it all year because it's just worth it. And as I say, you wouldn't even think it is 55 years old because it's just so good. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, please. Give us a like, everybody. It does help the channel as well. From George, from Paul, from Emilio, and from myself, thank you for watching. We're going to be back live again. Scheduled live. You never know what could happen with headlines on Sunday. Come and join us for that 8 o'clock live, and join us in February for Cyber Talk. I wonder what that's about, everybody. I have no idea. We'll be seeing you again soon. From all of us, Tra, everybody. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.